Well, it's the KTC podcast. I'm here with Austin Van Scoy from Minnesota, Ely, Minnesota, and he has a business called Dutchman's Tree Service. Started about 4 years ago. Austin, tell me about how you found me.
I was a, what do you call it? What's the term you use? Distressed business. Didn't know anything, started a company, struggled, did some bad things with spending, and started listening, trying to come up with solutions, listening to the LMN podcast, the Stanley Genetic podcast. George had an episode about his mad science behind buying and selling equipment, and I was just hooked by it. I listened to it a lot, and I emailed George, and he got a hold of me, and that's how we found out.
Cool. And so what was a unique thing that happened when we had that first discussion? You had no money. What happened? What did I do?
Well, something that I thought was pretty unique was George got back to me. You got back to me right away. And then we set up this meeting, and it ran way longer than I would have ever thought. And you just kept digging and digging. And you basically said, okay, you're in the negative, you have no money, you're actually worse off. Tell you what, I can help you, and I will help you. If you follow my steps, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you and not expect anything in return until August or September or something. It was like the fall. And you had said, Austin, if you trust me and you follow my procedures, my steps, you will have the money by then to pay me. And it was a lot of money in my perception. And he's like, well, if you go out of business, then I'm a terrible consultant. and if you your business will thrive, and when it does, you'll pay me. So you did forward consulting for me, because I had nothing, and you were interested in me.
So what I saw in you was a good person and character, and essentially I had retired at that point, so it really didn't matter. It's like kind of think it as pro bono consulting. If I get paid, it's a bonus. Uh-huh. And so what were your revenues that first year? So first of all, a little backstory. Austin, you started the business, you moved to a new town, you know nobody, correct?
I went to college in this town, and then I worked seasonally in this town for 2 summers. Then I moved away for a number of years, 4 years.
But no deep connections.
No real deep connections. I had a couple of really good friends. That was it. And moved to the city. Eventually made it to the metro, central Minneapolis, and then my wife and I decided that we were going to move to Ely, and we bought a house, had a baby, our first kid, and moved to Ely and started the tree company all in the same month.
And you had a safe job, didn't you, before that?
I was an arborist for the city of Minneapolis, retirement, pension. My wife was a registered nurse, and we quit our jobs and decided to do the hardest thing we could have done. So
let me ask you a couple of questions. So a couple of things you did. One, that is the definition of risk and insanity. So your business is low people, high equipment?
Yes.
Yeah. And so the first year, what were your revenues roughly that first year?
From April to December, I think it was around $200,000.
$200,000. And how did you get that work? What did you do to get the work?
I didn't actually get work the first couple of months. I tried networking as much as humanly possible, and going door to door wasn't working. And I painted my neighbor's house to make my first mortgage payment, because I drained all my savings to buy the house. And right when I thought I was done, there was a windstorm, and my whole family came up to visit Jess and I and our newborn baby, and my dad was there, and they were there for like a week, and we got the windstorm, and my dad volunteered to help me out, and I went to I went to the hardware store and rented out the machinery. I called a crane company an hour away. I called another tree service an hour away, and told them I was flat broke and there were trees down everywhere. And if they would help me, I would pay them. I would pay them after I got paid, and that I would help them in the future, like as much as humanly possible. And they did. We got together, and we did storm work for that week with my dad. And that was how our business got kicked off. I got a picture in the local newspaper and, doing a crane removal right in the middle of town. And that was how our business really just got found out about.
I've been working with you for 4 years, and we're going to be 850,000, 900,000 revenue this year.
Yep.
And obviously, so what do you think the biggest mistakes you made were at the beginning? What, like top 3 mistakes?
More like, what did I do right?
Okay, so that's pretty bad.
Yeah,
so what did you do right?
I called you. That was about the only thing. It was like I knew that I had faith. I had faith, and I think if I would have chose a different path than my faith, that would have been my first number one mistake. I was reckless in spending. I was a huge risk taker. I bought used equipment. I literally I did all the wrong things, and I did hire, who's my crew leader and one of my best friends at that.
So you got lucky
first
with
year.
the HR.
I got extraordinarily lucky
With
in
talent,
HR.
some talent, yeah.
Yep.
So there's a bit of luck and some risk. And I mean, if you could do it again, what I saw that was incorrect was buying used equipment. That was, how old was that first piece of equipment?
It was in 1994.
1994. I don't know. That's old.
It was 20 years old.
20 years old. No, it's more than that. 1994. It's like
30 years old.
30-year-old piece of equipment. Now, unfortunately, you had a mechanical aptitude for fixing things. We're talking full-on lobotomies, which probably skewed your view in terms of, I can fix that, right? And so the real lesson in that is, am I a mechanic or am I an arborist? And I think that's where it's hard to grow a business when you're fixing things. It's a lot easier when you're cutting trees or doing fire mitigation as you do. And so, it's been a crazy journey watching you. I feel now you're at the point where it's starting to come together. And we just spent 3 days together, and we're moving you from tactical thinking to strategic thinking. So talk to me about that experience, the understanding of the pain of moving from tactical thinking, even the inability to think strategically, where you're like, I just can't think like that. And I think now you can. Maybe I'm wrong. Talk to me about that.
There's definitely a trust factor that has to go into changing your way of thinking, and really it's just surrendering to that path. Like forget, not necessarily forget, I guess.
Let go
of beliefs and be coachable and be conceptual, and when the process is like it's very, when you're in tactics at an operations level, I kind of sort of got used to the craziness. When you're strategic, you're more so sitting still, and you're using your brain, not your bronze. Your
brawn, yeah.
And I guess that's been painful. It sounds counterintuitive. What I would rather do, what my flesh wants to do, is just go out and work as hard as I humanly possibly could, and accomplish my goals. I'm like, as a strategic thinker, trying to break that belief system is like, you could work yourself to bankruptcy, you could work yourself to death, you could work yourself to loneliness, you could work yourself. You got to use your brain, and you got to know how to use your brain.
So it's interesting. One of the 10 commandments of improvement is seek ideas from others, and also, I don't like to use the word but, and also to let go of preconceived notions. And so your experience with me, has it been difficult in me challenging or like not letting, like a dog on a bone, I just do not let go. I will not let go of a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's taken, like, you have a process from what I've seen for just about everything, right? And once I understood the format, the architecture of your processes, and then living the testimony, going out and implementing them, it like opened my whole mind up to your system.
Yeah.
And how it does.
So it's actually based on military logic: command, control, logistics, execution, tactical execution. And when you're at the tactical level and you're trying to run your business at the tactical level like a general, it doesn't work. And so we talked about the concept of the helicopter CEO, where when we think at a high level, we're thinking in years, we're thinking in hours, but not weekly hours, monthly hours, we're thinking in yearly hours. What was the payroll hours? What's the total revenue going to be for the year? And we also are not worried about what happened. We're only worrying about what we can change to change the future. So the backstory, the backstory is essentially often not required. We, as a strategic thinker, we start to understand what's urgent and important, and I think that's becoming very clear to you. So maybe talk to me about your experience with the concept of urgent and important.
Well, seeing the philosophy, like, you have all these things broken down crystal clear. So seeing the philosophy of urgent and important is helpful. You can categorize, and then when you stop focusing on what's not urgent and what's not important and only what's urgent, things improve. The curve kicks in, and it just takes a little bit of discipline to keep yourself in that strategic path.
And so right now, in terms of where we are, year 4, we've had 4 sessions together. We're going to be doing a lot more work together now. We can accelerate what's going on because you actually have money. And we still want to not overspend. So one of the 10 types of waste is overspending. So the next thing we're going to be doing is implementing clean financials, clean budgeting protocols, and assigning money for everything that you do. And if it's not there, you can't do it unless there's a surplus somewhere else, and then you can employ it. And you're starting to understand the unintended consequences of poor decision making. So, I could buy this or I could pay down debt. Those are the kinds of things that we're looking at now, and you're seeing it very clearly. And, we talked about building your balance sheet. So, in terms of your equity position, we want to see the equity position improve. And, there's so much to learn. So we talked about, like, how much is there to know in business? It's actually pretty insane. So we developed a box system that's 9 by 9 with 9 subsets within each box. And so actually it's 9 by 9 by 8. So I've actually mapped out how many layers there are in a business. So I don't know, 760 something folders that you'd have to know as a small business as one person. So literally up until now, there was you in management. There's you cutting the trees. There's you estimating, you selling, you setting up the marketing, you trying to strategize. So you've hired somebody now who can take a bit of that load off. So instead of having 700 accountabilities, you're going to have 350. And that's going to be magical. And we're implementing processes to be able to delegate in a consistent way so that whatever gets done by someone else other than you is as good as what you do.
Correct.
And so at the field level, so the ground level, I think we've got that, right? At the logistics level, that's coming. So one CDL, $5,000 investment for a driver, super amazing guy. The logistics are, now you're not driving back and forth, that's resolved. So then we go to the next level, which is the sales piece. And your business is unique because you're working over, like, how many square miles, would you say, in terms of your work zone, your work radius?
It's an hour's radius of our little town.
Okay, so an hour's radius.
Yep.
And you're doing how many projects a year? 200?
Yeah.
And your closing rate is what, 50%?
Higher.
Higher, 60%?
It's about 60%.
60%. So you have to do something like 300 and some odd estimates in order to achieve 200 customers.
And all those leads, unless we're implementing the marketing strategy, how I've done it on my own, all those leads come in at the wrong times of the year. So they come in from June to October. 300 and some leads have to happen.
So that is not just 300 client meetings that you have to do. It's also compressed. Mm-hmm. So now you have to drive in a 1 hour radius to see 5 customers a day, because you're not working hopefully Saturdays and Sundays. You're working Saturdays, but not Sundays. Mm-hmm. And so that's exhausting. And so now you have a second person to pick up the load. You've identified the jobs that are easier to accomplish and not screw up the estimate. You've got a way to review those estimates, and that just relieves you of running around like a chicken with your head cut off and trying to run the machine and fix the machines and work on building the business and do the marketing. Mm-hmm. And you've taken chunks of time, 2-3 days, to actually start strategically planning your work now. And so the planning's great. It's the implementation and the execution. So this is the year of the planning, and next year, 2026, is the implementation and execution. Mm-hmm. And so how many hours do you think you work a year?
3,000 plus minimum.
Okay, so 3,000 plus.
Minimum.
It'll be interesting if we do another podcast next year. I think I'll have you back. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not it's 2,200. Mm-hmm. Would that be a win for you?
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Because what's hard about being a strategic thinker is at my level, wearing all the hats, is you don't have time, and you're just constantly in a reactive fight or flight mode all the time.
Yeah.
And imagine being in battle, and you have to be the general at the same time with bullets flying over your head. That's what it is like running a multi-hat small business. So, it's insane.
So there's another interesting thing that I learned today, and it's going to be called the strategic sacrifice. So you've got this new person, and the trucks that you drive require CDL licenses in the US, which is the higher class license.
Yep.
And in order for that to happen, you have to have this person take a course. Mm-hmm. And in order for that person, it takes 3 days out of your production, mm-hmm. right? So the question is, do I do it now, or do I do it 3 months from now? And the sacrifice is I do it now. It's a strategic sacrifice.
Yep.
Because after those 3 days, although it might hurt my profits, or I might have to work 20 hours a day when I'm working 16, what it'll do is it'll allow me to work 12 hours and think mm-hmm. right after that happens, provided the person passes the test, right? And so, most people cannot get themselves out of making a strategic sacrifice. So if you're a general and you're fighting a battle, sometimes you have to sacrifice troops to achieve your goal. And in business, I think it's time. You have to sacrifice time, maybe some profits for sure. And the question is, I know you're willing to do it. So now when I coach you, you're so coachable. It's a pleasure working with you, right? And so, our goal is to make you ridiculously profitable. And then you're already ridiculously generous. You can share that generosity with whatever altruistic pursuits that you have. And I'm really proud of you. I think you're in 4 years from where you've started to where you've gone. I think you're one of the most incredible stories, period. And I've met a lot of people. I've coached a lot of companies. And so to watch you professionalize your business now is going to be an absolute joy. And I think you're going to be the highest level of leader. That's what I think I see. And so I think you're going to be able to help a lot of people to overcome their fears. And some of them are rational, some of them are irrational. Yep. And so I think you're a poster child for that, to be honest with you. That's my thoughts. What do you think?
I think there's a lot to be excited about. These are incredible times to be alive. And I'm lucky.
And we work together with your AI chat agent, Chip.
Chip, yep.
And Chip helped us a ton, correct?
He did.
So we were working with Chip, and we were building your sales process. Mm-hmm. I think we've got it down to 8 steps. And then we tied the marketing to each step, what we're going to do with each step in the marketing. And Chip, you and I, the three of us, were integral to getting that, I really think, as close to perfection as we could in terms of sequencing. So the logic behind this is, did I miss anything? Yes or no? Is it in the right order? Yes or no? Are we getting the client to overcome objections at the end? At the very, very end, do they feel fantastic about the decision they're going to make? And they're making choices, yes, no, along the way, not decisions. And at the very end, they make a decision based on the choices, the sum of their choices. So we have a logic order to what we're doing. And then we tie the marketing, for example, the $500 or $250 certificate for the neighbor, because in your business is unique. You're essentially preventing forest fires from burning down people's homes.
Yep.
The problem is if you have two homes beside each other and you do a great job on your property and their property catches on fire, your house burns, your client's house burns down.
Yeah.
So if there's a way to get the neighbor to follow a safe practice, and you're rewarding your client for that, it increases your business and makes Ely safer, right?
Yep.
We came up with a strategy for the real estate agents, the insurance agents. So talk to me about some of those ideas that we had that we sort of were going to start working on, and the cost.
Yeah. So we're in a very small town, and it grows rapidly in the summer, and then goes down to 3,800 people in the winter. And our plan is to give these agents, basically employ these agents to do our marketing for us. And we've worked for a lot of these people already. It's just keeping the brand in front of them and making it easy for them to refer us. So we came up with this idea of etching a really nice quality mug that is reflective of our brand and giving it to them as a gift, and making it super easy via a QR code on the back to have them have their customers scan that code.
And what kind of mug are we getting them?
It's a Yeti mug.
It's a Yeti, so we're not going cheap.
Heck no.
And we've chosen a mug that is ergonomically perfect. I have one of my clients gave me one, and I love it. I think I would probably have a bunch of them, because I'm not forgetful. I am not perfect, so I forget. It feels so good in your hand. And so that feeling of excellence, and I'm always looking at it, Dutchman's tree, and I drink my coffee or my juice or whatever it is that I do from this thing, it's that positive feeling. So we're trying to create evangelists of the, say, 20 real estate agents or 30 real estates in Ely. If we can get one of them, and we can get a one referral a year, and a referral from the referral, and it costs you $500, the cost of acquisition is peanuts.
Goes down.
Yeah. Yep. And so in terms of your success, we also looked at, anecdotally, we don't have the absolute statistics on this, your repeat customers are now roughly how many out of your total 250 customers? How many of them are coming back?
Quite a few. Probably well over 50%, 50 to 60%.
50%.
Yeah.
So the effort to close the deals is going down.
Yep.
They trust you completely, and every one of them refers somebody else. So you're going to get an exponential curve, provided you keep doing what you're doing and the forest doesn't run out.
Yep.
And so you're doing a lot of things right, and it's just remarkable. Now you also brought a property. This is insane. So you were going to get kicked out of your property. So talk to me about that whole, and when did that happen? So we're at year 4 now. Talk to me about that nightmare. I remember you're almost in tears. I was so upset for you. I was so terrified for you.
Yep. So along with that 30-year-old chipper that I had to buy a semi truck and a trailer to haul it. And I had nowhere to park this beast. And I was parking it on the road, on the street in front of my house in a residentially zoned area, and got kicked off there. And then I was parking at my employee's house on a residentially owned street, back lot of town, got kicked off there, and eventually was able to park my truck in some parking lot and pay rent for it. And it was unsafe. It was like
Sketchy.
It was sketchy, and it was incredibly inefficient and sketchy. Yeah. So this property came up I had worked for a client he's an investment guy, and I told him what our problem was. I was like, we could really use a space just to park our equipment that is safe and gives us, it'd be a perk if it was good advertising. And he said, well, here's a few properties that aren't for sale and they would all work. Why don't you look into this one? It's got the best frontage.
So literally, just to explain to everybody, imagine a bougie tourist town, and you have the corner property that's kind of derelict with like a falling down building as you're coming up a hill into town, and it's like this perfect property, and you bought it at half price. So
I bought it at tax value.
So this is insane. If you want to talk about luck, and I look at luck, and there's 4 kinds of luck. There's blind luck, right? There's trial and error, there's persistence, and there's magnetic luck. So you are the luckiest man. I've met your wife, she's unbelievable, so you're super lucky there. Like, you are lucky. You're on there's a podcast, you meet me, I help you out for nothing. The woman sells you the property for half of what it was valued at, roughly, because she liked you, okay? And you're getting kicked off at your property at the same time, and literally this is going to put you out of business. And we did the math on the cost, and it was so low that worst case scenario, you could sell it for 30% more than you paid for it. So it was really a no-brainer, even though this is not something I would normally recommend. And I said, do it, pull the trigger. There's another lot you were looking at. I'm like, don't do it. I think that would have bankrupted you. So you got lucky, and I have never seen anybody more persistent, surviving more obstacles with more luck. You know what? You're Forrest Gump. You are the Forrest Gump of forestry. I'm telling you right now. And you know what? He'll save your life too at the end. It's just crazy. I know you've helped me a lot, like in terms of my spirituality, my thinking, and my understanding of the big man upstairs and what we're doing. So I find it incredible. And I love amazing people. And I think you're one of those people. And so, you have been through hell and back, and now it looks like it's going to get easier.
Yeah,
pretty amazing. And we were talking about what's the highest achievement. I think wisdom. I think you're starting. I think I achieved wisdom at like 55 or something. How old are you?
29.
29 years old, and you're achieving wisdom. You've had 4 years of consulting. Do you think you'd be where you are without it?
No.
Yeah. And so we talked about some analogies about like, what does a team look like, right? Well, you are a team of me. Mm-hmm. And so we've got, my best analogy is we've got Batman, we've got Robin, we got Catwoman, and we got the butler. So I was your butler.
Yep. You
had a Batman and a Robin, and now you're going to have a Catwoman. I think your wife's doing a little bit of stuff in the business now. Kids are a little bit older. So you're surrounded by a team, and you're going to have processes which is going to eliminate waste, and you're going to operate at 30% more efficiency in terms of time efficiency. That doesn't necessarily translate into profit efficiency. Your time efficiency is going to be 30% more efficient,
yep.
Which means you can work on the business instead of in the business, and and you're coachable. You're getting to be extremely coachable, and so we just watched. I sent you that little clip on that podcast from the Mr. McPhee guy. He said, there are infinite number of things you can do right, and there is 1 or 2 things that you can do wrong that'll kill you. And so, in war, don't pop your head above the trench. And so, for us, your rule is don't be curious, because you're going to get killed. Yeah. If you're going to do it, make sure you crawl through the trenches to talk to whoever you're going to go to.
Yep.
So what other things would you like to add? What do you think this weekend sort of meant to you in terms of your progression?
I've never had this kind of breakthrough in my business before, ever. And being in person with George, just night and day is a game changer. I am, my house, my shop with my office in it is directly behind my house. I have a young family, and everybody comes to my house, shop, and to pull yourself into a strategic mindset, constantly being tactically challenged is really tough. And the first day coming here, it was really difficult to adjust. I was fighting you on a lot of things where it was not easy, and it didn't necessarily get any easier. It just, once I opened up, once I adjusted, like I'm not in my office, I'm with George, and this is powerful stuff, and it makes sense, and it's working. And I saw the architecture, and it's coming together, and things are working. There's just nothing that I've experienced like it. It is truly, it's transformed my business in 4 years, and it started on day one with George. And if I had one regret, it was that I did not. That first year that I worked with you, you gave me all that advice, forward consulted, I paid you, and then I got cocky and was like, I'm good. And I just like,
sabbatical.
I didn't lean on George like I should have. I understood your philosophies at a micro level, and I should have kept in better communication. I should have reached out to you with questions, because I did not see myself as a learner. I saw myself as an implementer.
Or a doer.
Or a doer, yep. And the more I've worked with you, the more I realize the little bit that I actually know about running a small business. And this weekend, I now clearly see how these next 2 years are going to go.
So one of my best analogies to those people that are listening to the podcast is when you join the military and you're in the officer corps, you go to West Point, and you go to West Point for 4 years to learn leadership. And leadership is the difference between your troops getting killed, you losing a war, it's a disaster, right? Yep. And so almost nobody takes leadership training. And so part of the thing we were working on is leadership training and leadership thinking. Mm-hmm. And leadership thinking is about strategy so that you can execute your tactics efficiently without any sacrifice. At the end of the day, everybody comes home. Mm-hmm. And so it's intangible. It's really hard to describe. When you actually see it, it's like an epiphany. It is truly revolutionary work. Like every company that is awesome has a great leader. And you can be born with leadership traits. You can be taught enormous leadership strategy and leadership modes of being. And and then to watch somebody become coachable. So I've got another client of mine in Philadelphia, and he's the most coachable person I've ever met in my life. And I've been working with him for 8 years, and he is like in abundance. And so, the story of him getting what it is to be coachable was a humbling moment for him. I'm not going to share it because he's going to be on the podcast next week. We're going to do it virtually. I'm going down there to meet him in a couple of weeks in Philadelphia, and it is just so cool to watch your student. At some point, they're going to outshine you, which is essentially the goal. A great teacher gets their student to outshine them. That's what success is. And so, I'm really excited to work with you. I can hardly wait to see what the next few years are going to look like. And we'll be back next year, and we'll do this again. And thank you very much, Austin, for coming to Toronto and spending 3 days with me. And I'm grateful.
You're welcome. Thank you, George.
Cheers.
I'm exceptionally grateful.
Awesome.
Appreciate you, brother.